Hey, this is John Young with Disc Jockey News, Disc Jockey News TV with today's Tuesday tip. Today we're going to be talking about getting started your first light show. What should you get in your first light show? Now, one of the big things when DJs are looking at lights, they want to go out and buy these big things with a flash and do all this kind of really stuff because we think this is cool. So we go out there and buy the Beam 4000 and we think it's the greatest thing in the world. Well, here's some ideas and thoughts from someone who's been around and talked to a lot of DJs of what you should go and invest in when you're starting to buy your light show. First thing I would do is start with the basics, and that would mean some wash lights. A couple of wash lights. Ideally, you want to go for a hex, but go with a tri-LED minimum, not the 10 millimeter. Go with a tri-LED, but if you can go with a hex, a couple of hex fixtures that do red, green, blue, amber, white, and UV, they can do a lot for you. Two of those shining up on the ceiling will bounce kind of down and fill your dance floor area pretty well. Or you can put them up in trees and shine them on the dance floor, or you can put them on speaker stands and shine them off the ceiling and get that effect. Two can do well. Four better. Obviously, as you add more, the more coverage you're going to have. You don't need to go crazy. Four can do pretty much every dance out there if you put the lights in the proper places and do the right things with them. So wash lights is number one. Start with wash lights. Second thing, I'm going to go into what not to get. Strobes, I would put that way on the end of the list because unless you're doing teen dances, strobes are not needed. UV lights is down there, not quite as far as strobes, but it's down the line because in most backyard parties or if you're doing weddings, you don't need UV lights. Getting into some things that we refer to as the spin and puke lights. These are things that back in the day were the Vertigos and the mushroom lights, where they basically, the Avengers and all these things, where they put the beams out and the beam just going like this all night long. Those lights are still out there. I would highly recommend staying away from those because those are 10% lights, meaning you only run those 10% of the time, where a wash light I can run 90% of the time and it's not bothersome or offensive because I can dim it, I can brighten it, I can slow it down, I can speed it up, I can make it chase 2 colors, I can make it chase all 6 colors. I can do things with that light, even if I'm just using the built-in programs, compared to these things that are going like this all the time. It's a slow song and it's doing this all the time. That's what they do. Spin and puke because they're going to spin until you puke. I would avoid those. So wash lights we start with. What would I recommend for number two? Moving head. A couple of smaller moving head fixtures can do an awful lot. They can give you some movement. They can give you excitement. And they can really add to your show. Now, if you're running them in an auto program, you're probably going to find you're only going to be able to find a couple of programs that fit maybe half of your songs. That's okay. That's understandable. Because then we go to our third part. The third thing would be to get into DMX control. Now, you don't have to get in crazy DMX control. Something like the ADJ Airstream Bridge, and there's other companies that have some different apps and things. Those software-based things are not that tough once you just basically get those and sit down with those. Not tough to program. But then it's going to allow you to adjust those floods and do your up and down with that. It's going to allow you to go and take those moving heads and set a slow scene. So you've got the white that's going to slowly go around the ceiling. Then you get to a fast scene and it's going to be doing da-da-da-da-da-da. You can do that with control. So wash, moving heads, then DMX control. Down the road. The next thing I would add is probably some of those effects lights that do some of the beaming things for those times when I need to have that just wild, crazy splash for a phrase of a song. 16 beats of a song and I want it to go, because we're at the refrain and I want it to go, ah! That's when you use those spin and puke type lights. So they're there, but just down the road. Lasers. Let's talk lasers for a second. I would stay away from lasers like there's nobody's business, because lasers basically, you can see if you got enough dust in the air or fog, which no one can run fog anymore, you can see the lasers and you can see what it does on the wall. But if you're not able to do something cool like their names or something that looks neat, stay away from it. You can put their names on the wall with gobos and gobo projectors or a video projector and creating a graphic, a JPEG image. Do those with something else. Lasers, basically, I'd put those way down on the list. So we got wash, moving heads, control, getting into some effects lights, then beyond that, getting into UV, strobes, and then lasers. And there's probably things I didn't talk about, getting into trussing a lighting stand, but don't worry about those things. Get the basics, and you can mount some of those things on a simple tree, or you can do some things with the lights. You don't even have to put them on trees. You can put the wash lights on the floor and shine those off that ceiling, going that effect, and put the moving head things on top of your speakers. Some will work there. On some stands, or you can put them on, whatever. There's some other things out there. So anyway, if you're getting into lighting, that would be my suggestion for the progression to go from no lighting to having a light show that's going to be able to work for you as a mobile wedding DJ, as a mobile backyard party DJ, and even as a school dance DJ down the road. Thanks for watching. This is John Young with the Tuesday Tips of the Week.